Okay, y'all, the Family Business New Orleans is underway, and we've got bodies dropping. Sebastian is back on the scene, and we're using chicken feet as lucky charms. So without further ado, let's get started. The scene opened with Big Shirley busting up into the house, but she did call first, fair warning, but Marquise decided to ignore the call because he was a little busy with Antoinette on his lap. Another man's wife. But Big Shirley stopped by to let Marquise know that they have got a problem, a big one. And he thought that they had gotten robbed or something, but she was like, no, we've got a body. And from the onset here, we can see that Marquise is not independent. He's still living with his mama or at his mama's house, one of her houses. So he actually referred to it as his weekend house or something like that. So he's probably living there, but it's her house. And she said that Marquise was supposed to be in charge and keeping his eye on everything, like the business. But, we see what he's doing. So they went to the club to find out exactly what happened and why they have a dead body, right outside their doorstep. And they're questioning Monique. She's telling them what happened. She said that Pierre, the dead guy, was there and he was losing. Apparently this guy has some losing streak because he always loses. And naturally he got upset. So Monique told him to go outside, take a smoke, and to think about his life. And that's exactly what he did because he shot himself, according to the witnesses. So then Floyd came in and he said, regardless of if this guy killed himself or not, that's Pierre LeBlanc. Like, he's a big deal. And when they tell the story, nobody's gonna believe them. So they're gonna have to do something. And luckily for them, the house wasn't really full. It was just a handful of people in the casino when it happened. So 3 of the workers, I'm not sure if they work there or if they're just regular customers, but 3 of them saw what happened, but only 2 are there trying to give an explanation. And one of them is a real chatty patty. So we already know that he's gonna be the first one to snitch. So they paid them off, so they thought. And she instructed Floyd and Marquise to get rid of the body, get it away from the club. So they kind of debated back and forth as to who was gonna be the one to go and pay off the sheriff. And while they're standing there talking, loading the body into the truck, somebody saw them. Then we're finally introduced to Jean LeBlanc himself. It's him in the white suit. They cleared everybody away from the club and they're there to see Red, the club's owner. So apparently this Red guy, he already know what's up because he came out strapped, ready to take a nigga out already. So Jean sent Saint. This is the guy who cleared the club with the braids. He sent him to the club to buy half of it, right? But Red doesn't want to sell his club. And this pissed Jean LeBlanc off. He said, oh, I want this club and I'm gonna get this club. So apparently whatever Jean wants, he gets it. And now he's so pissed off, instead of buying half of the club, he wants to buy the whole thing. So again, Red is telling him that his club is not for sale. And Jean is telling him, I got a lot of respect for you because you remind me of your father. But apparently Red knows his father or knew his father. He said that his father was a respectable man, a fair man. But Jean, on the other hand, is not. So he's not a chip off the old block by any means. So Jean pulled the deed from his pocket and told Red to sign it, and he refused. So now at this point, one of Jean's goons shot Red's son. Right then and there, just took him out. And apparently Red thought that this person worked for him, but all along, these are Jean's people. Jean is actually her uncle. So then Jean came back with another offer and he said, listen, maybe you'll sign now, because if you don't, the same thing is gonna happen to your daughter and to your grandson. So instead of risking losing more of his family members, he signed the deed. Then after he signed it, Jean put him out. He told him to get the F out of his club. Red turned around and saw his son there, lying there dead, and it just made him go berserk. He pulled a knife from his pocket, and of course, it's lights out for Red. So now we're at the swamp, and it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. He met the sheriff there, and the sheriff needs to know, whose body this is, what's going on. So he told her that it was Pierre LeBlanc, and, to get rid of it, because apparently, they're on payroll, clearly. And he offered her $10,000. They kind of went back and forth, and she said because it's Pierre LeBlanc, it's not going to be easy trying to keep this away from Jean. So she charged him $50,000, and she's going to go and split that with the mayor. So this whole town is crooked. And she calls Marquise Marky. right? Like that's his little nickname, pet name that she has for him. And I love her accent. Like, I'm not sure if she's actually a country like that, or if she's one of the locals, or if they just hired her from Louisiana. Not really sure, but she's killing this role. So shout out to casting. But he agreed to give her $25,000 right now, like that night. And then he's to have the other half like by noon tomorrow. So now we move on to Floyd, and he's there with his root working girlfriend. And she must be pretty good because she sensed that something was wrong the night before. He said that the spirits were whispering in her ear. So she gave Floyd this chicken feet. You know, it's wrapped around this necklace as if it's a charm. She told him to never take it off because it's for his protection. And he was like, Ernestine, I think he said Ernestine. He said, you know, I really respect what you do, you know, and I like you a lot. You know, this voodoo's turning me on, but I ain't putting that chicken foot around my neck. But guess what? He's gonna have it on like the whole time. It's like she's very forceful, very demanding. So if he wanted to stay up in that cooch, he had to wear it, okay? And she keeps telling him that there's trouble brewing. And she said, baby, I love her accent too. You're gonna have to wear this, wear it around your neck because you're gonna need it. And he was like, okay. And she said, in order for the power to be released, Daddy has to make love to her 3 times before the sun came up. Now, that's some voodoo for your ass. And, you know, consequently, she has him in the palm of her hands. So Big Shirley gave Marquise a call, basically reinforcing the fact that Jean LeBlanc is not going to believe anything that they say. And she's definitely wearing the mama hat on this phone call. She wanted him to know that she's not going to let anything happen to her, to Mo, or to her brother Floyd. And Marquise is reassuring her, you know, I'm a grown man, I can take care of myself. And he wants to call his uncle LC. And, you know, this triggered Big Shirley. Apparently, she does not want to talk to LC. She doesn't want to reach out to him. She doesn't want to ask him for help in any form. Now we're back to Floyd, still simping over Ernestine. And she told him to come back tomorrow so that they can recharge or re-energize that crow's foot or that chicken feet. And Floyd is all in. He's like, okay, whatever you need me to do. He wants to actually re-energize it like right now. But she told him that would not be necessary. So now it's time for the sheriff to let Jean LeBlanc know that his brother has been killed by the alligators in the swamp. And she's not the friendliest sheriff at all, but I like her style. And Jean was quite the gentleman. He told them to help themselves to the beignets and orange juice. Then his wife came in there and she wants to know what's going on. And I really like her accent too. And she talks with a really slow southern drawl. So I like her accent too. She was like, what's all the commotion? Like, girl, if this death of his brother does not excite you, I don't know, maybe this is just her character and personality, and I like it. She carries it well. And he only had one instruction to Saint, and that's to go and handle it. So Floyd is coming home from his rendezvous with his voodoo priestess. And I don't know, maybe they're the type of family just like LC and them where they all live in the house together. But either way, he's coming home and they're clowning him because his pheromones are like all over the place. You know, you can't help his giddy attitude. It's all over him. And they're, you know, making fun of him and talking about that chicken foot. And they're basically telling him to stay away from her because, you know, she's a voodoo queen. And he was like, I don't even believe in that stuff. So Big Shirley and Mo are there to talk to Ronald, the mayor. And he's letting them know that the alderman thinks that they should raise their fees from $75,000 all the way up to $100,000 per month. He said, it shouldn't be a problem. I ride by your place and it looks like you're doing pretty good. So, of course, Big Shirley is in opposition. She does not want to pay $100,000 a month. But she said, if I have to pay that, then I need to stay open 3 hours past 2 a.m. So Big Shirley will be open until like 5 a.m. every morning. And he said that he's going to get the ordinance together, as tough as it may be, and she'll have it next week. And I really like how Big Shirley is wheeling and dealing with this mayor. Like, she's going to get what she wants. And staying up 3 extra hours, for business, if everything else is closed and then you're the only spot open, like Waffle House, then you'll get all the business, right? So that was pretty smart. Marquise met up with the sheriff to give her the rest of her fee, the $25,000. And, they're standing there smoking weed. Turns out that they're old high school friends, right? That used to smoke weed together. And she has a crush on him. Well, she had a crush on him and she still got a crush on him. I mean, right? Because it doesn't go away, or does it? So we may just get some action out of these two before it's all over with. So now we're at the spa. Big Shirley decided that, with all this going on, she needed to relax a little bit. So they're there at the spa and they hear Jean LeBlanc's wife and his daughter, and they're talking about what happened to Pierre. And just a little insight here, it doesn't appear that Jean LeBlanc is really too fond of his brother in that way. Not for real, right? I mean, he's hurt because that's his brother, but I think business-wise, there may have been a little tension there. And we're also finding out that Jean LeBlanc doesn't really believe that his brother died at the swamp. And he's offering $100,000 to get tight lips talking. And look at Mo over here, about to choke on that champagne. Her silence was just a bit funny in this scene. Big Shirley walked over and she offered her condolences and made sure that they were going to make it to the ball that weekend. The masquerade ball. So Big Shirley is sitting these two down and she's telling them that Jean LeBlanc is offering $100,000 for anyone who's going to talk and give him the information that he needs about his brother. And again, here Marquise is wanting to call Uncle LC. And next we have a very pivotal point in the storyline here where Marquise is professing his manhood. He wants his mom to know that he's no longer a boy and that he's a grown man. She wants to, instead of calling LC for backup, she wants to send Marquise to Houston so that he'll be safe and sound. And she was like, yeah, you're going to Houston and I'm taking you to the airport myself. But none of that worked. So it looks like Floyd is a little nervous and he doesn't really think that Big Shirley is making the right decision. She says that she has a plan and he just hopes it works. Our next pivotal moment takes place in New York with the New York Duncans, where it's pretty obvious that Marquise is now going to enlist the help of the Duncans. And we're going to see what happens because Big Shirley already told him not to go there. And of course, Marquise wants the top tier Duncans, right? He wants Orlando and Vegas. And Vegas was like, well, Ma, we need to start you off small. But if you need us, we'll be there. So he sent Curtis and Lauren that side of the family. Being that LC and Chippy are upstate, Vegas is now kind of taking control, head of the house. And I think Lauren was the most excited to go because, she's looking forward to that masquerade ball. And this is pretty much our final scene for the very first episode. And I really enjoyed it. This is like one of my favorite shows. So I don't have anything bad to say. I really enjoyed the buildings. They captured so much. There's also another episode. They gave us 2 episodes. I don't know if the third one is posted, but we definitely have 2. And I really like the accents. The characters are very believable. Like, everyone's so believable. And, when they first came on, I think that, a couple of the actors to me were, struggling to get their lines out. I mean, they weren't struggling to get the lines out. I just think that they weren't believable at first, right? And I'm not going to say who those characters are because, out of respect. But, as the show went on, like maybe midway, then they became more believable. The sets were great. The costumes, the wardrobe, everything was in place like it always is. It was really a great show, guys. But let me know what you guys think. Drop me your comments and your theories down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And if you're a fan of the Family Business New Orleans, then go ahead and sub to this channel for more videos just like this one. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I'm going to see you in the next one.